Yo, B, let's go.
You may have seen the clip and maybe heard word of mouth, yet another podcast. Man, what could it be about? Is it truth or opinion? A couple of contradictions. We're here to challenge tradition and twist your vision. So we set on a mission to bring you rebel wisdom.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Rebel Wisdom. Hey, we're here to remind you guys to stop living your lives. All right, sounds crazy, and we're not saying live for other people. And we'll certainly clarify as the episode goes on, but we just got some good conversation around how people live their lives, and if the quote of "just live your life" in air quotes has been taken too literally over the years. But I'm gonna kick it over to B on this. What's up, B? How you feeling today? What you got?
Yeah, I came across many, I don't know, recurring themes, right? Like when I was
Okay.
researching for this topic.
Yes.
And just to, I think but this topic is going to be generally surrounding, our, generation and younger, primarily the millennials and the Gen Zers, because, like millennials, like pretty much everyone's in the workforce. And then early part of the Gen Z is already in the workforce.
Yeah.
And then, people got money to spend, and then they're going to be spending the way that they do now.
Right.
And I came across this saying called money dysmorphia, which is a flawed perception of personal finances leading to insecurity even when financial stability exists. So apparently there is about 43% of people that reports this money dysmorphia within the Gen Z and the millennials generation.
Okay.
What do you? I just want to just open up the conversation. Like, what do you think? Why do you think that is?
So are you saying 42% is Gen Z and 42% of millennials, or like combined millennials and Gen Z, 43% of that population?
Gen Z is 43 to be exact, and millennials is 41. It was close enough, so I just said
Okay,
43.
I got you. Um, and you're saying, what do I think is causing this? Was it money dysmorphia?
Yeah, money
Spend it?
dysmorphia,
Oof.
but it's a flawed perception of personal finances, leading to insecurity stability, even when financial stability exists.
That last part is tripping me up because I could see how people like don't have money and think they do, but it's more interesting to think about people that like financial stability can encompass more than just having money, but like I'll say have money and don't think they do. Like that's what do I think is the leading cause of money dysmorphia? Or the reason maybe. Probably well, I feel like the most or at least the most logical thing that comes to mind quickly is a lack of accountability for one's own dollar. Like if you don't know how much is coming in and going out, then you have less traction on your finances, which could lead to something like money dysmorphia. Like if you don't budget, or I don't know, it just keep some type of spreadsheet, calculus. I don't know, maybe you can really good with numbers, you just keep a running ledger in your head or something. But if you don't, you just live and you spend, and you're able to pay your rent, and but you don't really track anything. You just know you make money and you spend money, and you've always been able to eat. um I think that maybe could lead to this money dysmorphia, where it's like you think you have more than you do, or you think you have less than you do, and you might be like okay, but you're like, oh, like think you're scraping by. So I would say a lack of not accountability, but a lack of
Maybe like
keeping
they
track.
don't know enough, and they know that they don't know, which creates the insecurity. Something like that. Something along those lines.
Or yes, a lack of like financial literacy, or I guess education.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll buy that.
Yeah. Not knowing that they don't know enough. That ooh. What do you elaborate on that? Like,
So originally, I was thinking about social media, right?
mhm.
Like their exposure to
Yeah.
super ultra successful, the 0.1 percenter of their age bracket that
Right.
they follow on TikTok or something like that. And then I was like, okay, that maybe that, even if 24-year-old is making 100K per year on salary, let's just say.
Mhm.
By any measure, you would say that they're
That's great.
successful,
That's good.
right?
Financially, yeah.
And yeah, but then when they compare themselves to these ultra rich people, they
Uh-huh.
may feel like, "Oh my god, like I don't have enough."
Yeah.
Right? And so that's where I was going with, but I like how I definitely think what you said applies here, and I think we can all loop that in because I do think social media is gonna be part of the big conversation when it comes to, I guess, the quote, "Live your life," whatever that means, right? And then, well, I mean, I'm sure we'll go through what we think that means from the outside looking in, even though we're millennials. But with on the point that you brought up, I think where if let's say the same scenario, right? If
Mhm.
someone has a really good marketable skill in the workplace,
Yeah.
and let's say they are a electrician, right? That
Right.
example has been brought up multiple times on the show. Let's say they're a electrician and they work, 60 hours a week. They work a lot and then they're making 100K. And again,
Mhm.
by any metric, like I wish I was making 100K at 24,
Yeah.
right? By any metric, look at the averages, like that they're very well off. But then they could be good at making money. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're good at saving money
Yeah.
or that they're good at investing their money and growing their money. So I can see where they kind of realize that because if you're making that much, like the chances are you could be in a circle of your friends, peers, maybe older generation that's talking about investments and
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about money stuff. And then they kind of realize that even though they're doing well for their age and then where they'll be at in their career, they're like, well, like, I have no idea how to invest.
Mhm.
I have no idea, like, if I got laid off from my job, like, how I would get more money. I have no idea how to do extra side hustles to, whatever. And I think that could definitely cause some insecurity or in
Mhm.
this case, like money dysphoria. I think that's what I meant from when people, they realize that they don't know enough about finances to feel comfortable and then, maybe they want to feel that they're in charge of the money, not the money, and not have money be in charge
Mm.
of them.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So it's funny when you ask me that question, social media or like a social media presence or influence definitely popped in my head. I was just like, what would be the most? Yeah, I feel like people, although it seems like kind of elementary, I feel like a lot of people don't have like saving plans or budgeting plans or whatever. But yeah, you couple all these things together, there's certainly um probably just like misallocation of money or lack thereof. Yeah, they like you said, not knowing what to do and right, there's no one right answer. There's a thousand ways to grow your money or save your money or invest. Um, but it's really just doing something or starting something, especially in the example you gave, if you're younger, making far more than the average or the mean for your age. Like, yeah, let's get that money moving.
Yeah. What do
But
you
they just yeah.
what do you think? I mean, I've known you for majority of your 20s, and then you have known me for majority of my 20s. And just to put some kind of definition, like please feel free to add or edit whatever I say, but when I say people are living their life in air quotes,
Hmm.
and this is surrounding the money side because I don't personally have any issues with people living their life, right? I have no issues with that. That's great for them. But I have an issue, or like I don't, because I want the best for them, obviously, because I wouldn't care if I didn't care about
Right,
the
right.
person. But I don't want them to live their life to the point that they are in a bad financial situation or that those choices that made during the living your life stage leads to you being in a bad spot.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what
gonna
I'm trying to rebel against.
yes, okay, right, right, so the common narrative here is, like, I'll even add a word to living your life, live your best life. That's what we hear most commonly now. Like, oh, just like live your best life. Which, right, sounds great on the surface level, but not if you're living your best life in excess or like to a detriment where it's like actually taken away from your life because you're prioritizing, let's say, fun. Another synonymous phrase with this that has seemed to die now, but like when the YOLO phase was
Yeah.
like you only live once, like that was, dude, that was like incentive to do anything. Like, oh, bro, I don't, should I do it? It's like YOLO, like you only live once. So when you layer that into like the financial realm, it's like, ah, should I buy this? Should I invest? Like, do YOLO or like, hey, live your best life. Just it's basically like just do it. Shout out to Nike. But um, yeah, that's not you shouldn't always fall back just to blindly just doing it or when you get talking about spending, like you need to I won't say live your best life in moderation because right, you truly the essence of the phrase, like, yeah, you want to be living your best life, but your best life might look like spending less. Or for longevity purposes, if you're trying to sustain, definitely that looks like saving, that looks like budgeting, growing your dollar, that looks like investing. So yeah, living your we're reveling the traditional take on live your best life, which is pretty much just do it in the moment. And I have a funny story about this specifically financially. So um, I went to the Naval Academy with, a bunch of where I met a lot of my good friends today. And there we had the opportunity to get a loan out. So like me and all my buddies, we got this starter loan is what the loan is called. Just
Yeah,
basically saying
yeah.
like to get your life started. Because those attendants of any of the military academies, you do not incur student debt. Like those schools are paid for because you are doing more than the average college student. You're pretty much like owned by the government as a aspiring um officer of whatever branch you're going into, right? So thankfully I didn't incur any college debt and I was offered this loan, right? So long story short, I take this loan out. Me and all my closest friends in college, like we take this loan out. So here we are, college age, young men, with more money than we've ever had in all of our bank accounts. At the same time, we're like our peak physical condition because I was on the football team, like we're all football players. So basically what I'm saying is you couldn't tell us shit. Like we're just like living our best lives, right? And it's funny because you look around the school and because anybody in the school has access to this loan. So, and like 85% of people take it out. And you don't have to take the whole thing, but like most people take, a fraction, if not the whole thing out. So you just start seeing people getting new cars out of nowhere, people's wardrobes being fresh all of a sudden. And it's just like as soon as you hit junior year, that's when you can get the loan. You can see the shift, which is kind of funny. But even within my friend group, I don't think we were as bad and like as frivolous on the spending, but I remember countless instances because we had like different trainings throughout the summers and stuff, and we'd be with each other, and then somebody's like, "Dang, bro, like, should I get this thing?" And we're like, bro, we just basically we had a phrase. I won't say like the exact phrase, but it was just like, bro, we just got all this money. Like what's it to us? Like, get it. And we just said like over and over, like we went on spring break, didn't budget at all, just went and just had a blast. And I mean, I don't regret it. And I was probably on the lower end of like the spending, whether in my friends and definitely amongst the school. I didn't get a new car. I did do some investments, like my first investments in life, and um, just like spring, like vacations. I guess I still mind a lot on experiences. Like mine mostly went to experiences and investments. I didn't get like much physical items, but even still, I'm like, dude, I could have saved so much more of that chunk of money. And literally, we were saying these phrases at each other to just like gas each other up and like promote the spending because we had it and we didn't have anything like we weren't paying rent. We didn't have anything tangible to save for, even though I mean you could always save or invest. And that's the power of learning, I guess, just investing early because had I been more just exposed to investing, I would be like, I can dump most of this money here, whether it be ETF, stock, whatever, and just let it sit. And 5 years from now, I will be good.
Yeah.
Like I had thousands to it, and I just did a small. I did some of it, but I could have did way more. But it was just like hearing us talk about this now. Like I was literally that person, and me and all and like all my friends. So
On
it's
the career starter loan piece, I also took it out,
mm-hmm.
and I don't remember if I took it out right before graduating or right after, but it was around that time. And then, I mean, the loan itself is really good.
Oh
You
my
know, I
god.
think I don't remember the exact amount, but I took out like 25K and it was at like 2 point something percent interest.
Super low. And I
I'm
refinanced
like,
mine for more with another credit union. Like, oh, dude, I did the most.
yeah, that was like, dude, that's, I mean, looking back at it, like I did get lucky, right? Because I followed just like what everyone else said. Everyone was like,
Nice.
"Hey, take out this loan." They didn't really give me a tangible reason why I should take
What?
that amount.
Same.
So it's like definitely this is definitely rebel wisdom material. I'm the target. But yeah, no, I moved to Japan right away after commissioning, and that was my first duty station there. And yeah, I think I spent like 5,000 out of the 25K to I bought a new car, or I bought a car that was new for me, but used.
Yeah.
And then, I bought all my furniture, which it wasn't much to furnish my little tiny apartment, right? And then I think I had like 20K left over. And then I remember I bought 20K worth of Tesla in 2018. And then I remember, I mean, that took off like crazy. And then I was just, I
Mhm.
mean, yeah. So I was very,
Ooh.
very grateful for a career start alone, and just, luck played a lot
Yeah.
of, luck went in a very good way
Yeah.
multiple times.
So you put all that you didn't spend in just Tesla?
It was majority,
Most okay, okay, okay.
like
Gotta break in. Okay, I just yeah, yeah.
at least 50K out of the 20K. Well, yeah, I got lucky. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, I mean, sure, dude, I would take it again. I mean, that's, it's hard to say, like, I oh, man, it's so bad because I'm starting to understand what those people said by just taking it out, and it's hard to tell someone because you could, depending on their actions, it could lean the wrong way to go get a loan out,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
But looking at the terms of the loan, if you play it right, it is you're not gonna get
R
that anywhere else,
nope,
right?
nope. Duh.
So, I mean, if you're, you know, and at least Julian was at the Naval Academy, but you don't have to be Naval Academy.
No, you don't.
You could go to ROTC. You can have different commissioning routes, and that still applies to you right after you commission. So
Yep.
they're offered by USAA and then USA,
And Navy
right?
Federal. And Navy
And
Federal,
Navy
yep.
Federal. Okay, yeah. So just something to look into for the if there's a aspiring military officer. They should
Highly
definitely
recommend.
check out the military's Slept On Career episode, which
Yes.
was a few episodes ago.
It's a
But,
good call.
okay, dude, you said so many good things, and I have a perfect segue. But,
So
before the segue, like, I do wanna anchor on what you said, initially. You said, you had I mean, it sounds like the money that you had was well spent, right? Like, you said you had some investments, like, you made some
yeah.
memories and right?
Mhm.
But I'm just starting to think, like, I can't put a dollar value to the memories that you experience, right? Like, it's
You
very hard
can't.
to,
Yeah.
and a lot of times, like, once it's spent, like, because you created the memories, like, it's tough to say, "Oh, like, that wasn't worth it," or "That wasn't worth
Mhm.
it," you don't know. But my mindset is, I just I'm on my last year of my 20s. I just lived through my 20s, and just kind of realizing that there's so much more in life after your 20s. You got your 30s,
Right,
40s,
yeah.
50s, 60s, 70s, and most likely 80s. Most and then maybe, and then 90s, 100, maybe that gets a little gray area, but, like, it is kinda crazy to let's say theoretically, you had unlimited amounts of money from your 20th birthday to your 30th birthday,
Mm.
and after that, it just ends. You have no you're gonna be broke for the rest of your life, like, by putting it on the extreme end, like, that's what we're talking about, right? Like, mostly in the early age group, we'll say from 18 to 30,
Yeah.
people are trying to live life, ruin their financial future, like, and yeah, I think you said it so much better than what I'm about to say, but it's maybe the best life that you're gonna live resides not in your 20s, but later in life, right?
Man.
And I just feel like it's a better way. Like, I've been broke, I've been not broke, right? Like, right now, I'm in a much better financial position than I was when I was 20 or when I was 22. And then knowing the 2 places that I've been, like, I'd rather not be broke.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like, that makes sense, right? But
Yeah.
that was because instead of me trying to live my life, that was like, "Hey, life is more than just my 20s. I'm gonna try to make more money by investing." And then I didn't have an exact plan for it. Like, I guess it was like, "Oh, like, I'll try to retire early or whatever."
Mm.
But just having just having that money in my bank account or investment account was much better than the dumb, sh 3 shots that I bought extra that I didn't need to at a you know what I mean, right?
Facts. Yeah, dude.
And, yeah, I just think there's more to that. And the segue piece is we're talking about the career starter loan, which is a great loan product. We'll just leave it there.
Absolutely.
But you know what I've been like a trend that I've been seeing a lot
What's that?
if you're I don't know, all of our social media algos are so different, so I don't know if you get it or not, but I just been getting I literally see like 2 or 3 a day, but all these fast loan companies
Mm.
that like it's literally like someone my age or younger, like holding up their phone like, "Oh my god, like I can't believe they just deposited $5,000 into my account and I have a 470 credit score.
Mm.
Like they're taking anyone's like go get your money now." And I'm just like, is this the stuff that they fall for to like in what world do people think it's a good idea to take a quick loan that accepts anyone?
The death
I
grip,
haven't read
bro.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
haven't read the terms and conditions, but that seems crazy. And I've seen so many variants of it where it's like, hey, I can't believe they deposited $3,000 to cover my rent. Or the worst one's like, I can't believe they deposited $5,000. It was instant. Now I can go on my vacation. I'm like, oh, like I get it. It's an ad, right?
Yeah, right, right. Yeah.
But I'm like, is it? I'm sure they're trying to be relatable, right?
They got, yeah, why would you not?
So it's like, if they're trying to be relatable, then there's gotta be people that's looking to get a loan to go on a vacation.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, that is a crazy idea. And I I want
Eh,
I want your opinion on this, right?
okay.
Um, but let me see if I can. I wanna share my screen, and it's be a super quick episode.
I feel like that loan thing you were just bringing up speaks directly to like just financial
All right, can you
literacy,
see?
really. Yes, sir.
Let me try to
Super
expand it.
small though. Yeah.
Is it super small?
Yeah. Oh, is this one of the is this one of the ads?
Yeah, let me here. I'm gonna turn off
Grocery
the
store.
volume, or I'll turn off the audio just so that it doesn't get striked by any whatever.
Okay.
But here, we can let me turn it on and maybe I'll edit it out.
Put them subtitles on. Yes, sir.
Can you hear it?
No, I read it and just watched it.
Okay. But
But it's still
it
hilarious. The light
so they
speed loan,
yeah,
instant approval,
they
instant cash.
instant approval, like that speaks that's like a red flag.
Yeah, no lines,
It's
no paper.
no lines, no paperwork. That seems sketchy.
Bro, them
And just
traveling at light speed is what got me.
yeah. And they have all this like dopamine hit type of visuals in the background.
Interesting.
It right. Uh yeah, up to I don't know what the currency
Yeah,
is. Or maybe that's pesos. It's just as
what's
P,
the yeah, I don't know what that is.
right? Um but yeah, this is like like this is literally one of the examples of something like this. But I'm seeing more of just like
Interesting.
someone talking into a screen, like not official edits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like people. This is a definite like if we say, "Hey, go live your life," this is a stuff that they're doing,
Mm,
and is destroying. And this is like I want your opinion on this, right? And it was important to preface that what I said earlier that we have lived at least 5 years of our 20s in the same area. Maybe it wasn't 5 years, maybe like three years, right?
yeah, yeah, good chunk.
And at least from my point of view, I'm trying to understand because like I am part of the millennial group generation as well, right? So I'm
Mhm.
trying to understand. I'm like, I don't think me trying to invest and save took away from anything that was stopping me from living my life. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes,
Like I have
yes,
never ever declined to not go out with my buddies because I wasn't a financial burden.
yes.
Like,
Now,
go ahead.
no, I agree with you. I don't, we were living pretty much the same life at that point. And everybody's 20, at that age, like because we were in the military, we had like we had stability or structure that a lot of people don't have their first job or that early that maybe allowed us to do some other things. But even still, I think your point remains that it's not like all or nothing. You can go out, you can have fun, you can go on
Right.
trips and save and budget and invest. And that's what it's just finding that happy medium. Yeah, it's not you don't have to shut that part of your life down just to is it a sacrifice? Absolutely. And that's a word that you'll hear that's a common thread in a lot of our episodes is sacrifice. Another word I was thinking about this early when you were talking just now. And I feel like in our first 10 episodes when recording, we use the word mindset a lot. And
Mhm.
I mean, it's something you and I both refer to often, and we try to foster better mindsets for ourselves, and we, talk to each other about our mindsets. I don't think we've necessarily brought it up in the last couple episodes we've done, but here too, it's kind of that mindset. Like living your best life is a mindset. One that, again, I have no problem with anyone, as I think you stated, living their best life, but financially living your best life doesn't mean doing everything. And I feel like I sound like a dad right now, like, yeah, this is for the kids. I'm not like that's not the point. You know, I love doing stuff, especially like ex- having those experiences. Me and my girlfriend now, like we're always doing stuff, and we rarely decline like making moves. We've actually like talked about that, like yo, we probably got to slow down at some point. But even with that in the background, like we talk about things we're saving for, we're like bouncing numbers off each other, so they can coexist. And I think having the mindset that, hey, you can live your best life doesn't mean doing everything. Having a mindset shift around that, and then also having a mindset shift around just how you deal with money, like a financial mindset shift. So I think it's one is like a quality of life mindset shift that you don't have to do everything. And I think there's another mindset shift around either learning about money or just kind of how you spend that both can help with this topic of, you only live once. Because that is a true statement.
Mhm.
You do only live once, fact. But you could argue, which is kind of, I don't know, like a paradox. And you actually brought this up another episode. The more you save now, could you be living a better life later? Like
Yeah,
it's like you sacrifice now to live later, and then it's like people try to maximize like, oh, what's the best part of your life? They want to do everything in the 20s because that's quote unquote the best part. But you never know. It's like approaching my 20s, everybody's like, dude, 20s is the best years of your life. And then I hit my 30s and everybody's like, dude, your 30s is like the best years of your life, but with money. It's like I could hit 40 and they could be like, I don't know, the 40s is, I don't know, the best life of your life with money, with kids. Like, I don't know, but we don't know what's in the future. So definitely don't
yeah,
fixate on the past or the future, but like considering both, taking a healthy consideration of both, probably more so the future, looking downrange. But like, I mean, you can still live in the present, but you don't have to do everything. I don't
yeah, dude. Ah, man, okay. You reminded me of something, and I think it was Alex Hormozy, right? Like,
Yeah,
you know
I
Alex
remember this.
Hormozy?
Yep, yep,
Like
yep.
the big business guy, right?
Yeah.
He talks about it, and then I kind of thought about it, and I was like, this actually might be a very true statement. And what he said, it's not by quote. It's gonna be a paraphrase, obviously, but it's something along the lines of just you gotta you gotta work very, 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 very hard in your 20s because,
Mhm.
well, first of all, like, I mean, my personal take is that, I think you build a good work habit, right? Like
Sure.
you understand like what it takes, like that you get that ingrained in you early. But looking at my age now of 29 and when I was 22, 23, fresh out of college, ready to
Mhm.
work, Like, my work stamina has definitely decreased by a lot.
I'm glad you said
And
it because I feel like mine has too. I'm glad I'm not
it's not I
the
don't it's not the motivation piece either,
Yeah,
'cause I still I love my job right now, but, like, in the Navy, we're going from, like, the common day was, like, 6:30 to, like, 7
it was
AM, 6:30
ridiculous.
AM to, like, 7 PM.
And it's not just in it's
Definitely
like constant moving,
yeah,
talking.
1 hour for a lunch break, right? Like,
Yeah,
then so you're working, 60-hour weeks, um, easily, 'cause that's, like, an average day. You still have additional stuff on the side.
right.
And even, like, when I stayed up super late and then, I stayed up till, like, 2 AM or something like that, and then we had a fire drill the next day, so I have to go and be on the ship by, like, 4 AM or 4:30 or something like that. So I literally get, like, an hour and a half,
Yeah,
maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours of sleep, and I'll go the entire would I be tired? Yeah, absolutely, but, like, I go the entire day working.
right.
Dude, I cannot do that right now, like, there's no way. And
Stay youth.
but, like, y you said, like, 30s, like, the best, or it's like 20s, but with money, and it's like, I mean, there's definitely a true aspect of that statement that
Mhm.
you just said, 'cause you're not expected to have money in your 20s,
Right.
right? Like, it is okay, and this is super extreme example, but, like, let's say when you're 20 versus when you're 45, like, you could let's say that in the both scenarios, that person was sleeping on their buddy's couch, right? I feel like if you're in your 20s, it's like it's expected. It's okay to
Yeah.
be in that situation. Like,
And
if I was sleeping on my buddy's couch, like, no one's gonna say no one's gonna
yes.
think of it, right?
Yep.
But imagine you go sleep on your buddy's couch at age 45.
Yeah.
Is it an okay
Yep.
thing to do? Sure, that's your own. You do whatever.
Mhm.
I don't care where you sleep. But from a societal perspective,
Yeah.
we can draw a conclusion on that person probably is not doing well,
Mhm.
right? It's probably sucks more to be in this situation, right? So
Right.
those are obviously extreme, but you know, it is okay in your 20s to not have money. So you should be working, right? You should be getting the experience. You should be because you have the mental and physical stamina to do all this stuff, build your experience so you can set yourself up on the in the later part of your life with investing, or maybe you did you sacrificing your career so you got a better position starting in your 30s and whatnot.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, with all that being said, you can still do the exact same activities, maybe not the exact same,
Maybe
but
not the yeah.
similar activities of what people would phrase it as live your life. And that can living your life definition can change with how much you make or your age. Because when I was in college, everyone wanted to go out. So
Mhm.
I'll go out too. I wasn't a big fan of going out, but I'll go to socialize. And I have to buy a drink of, like, $10. I
Yeah.
remember getting this, like, red drink, like, pretty big. It was, like, $10, and I had to tip, right? So and pretty much is, like, $15. And I'm like, "You know what? I'm only drinking this tonight. Worst case, 2." So, like, I'll only go out once a weekend, so, like, the worst case, I was spending, like, $30 on alcohol,
Mhm.
right? And then as you started making more money, and when I was in the Navy, like, yeah, I'll still pregame. I'll try to limit my alcohol consumption, like, outside because it's
Yeah.
expensive. But, you start spending, like, $50, $100 a night.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
now with my current job, like, I definitely go out less, but if I spend 2, $300 on a night out, I'm like, "Ah, it's whatever. It's with the boys," type of stuff.
For the boys.
But then I think so that was like a linear progression, right? Depending on
Yeah.
where you're at in your life.
Yeah.
And I feel like you could maybe be conscious of that as well. In particular, if you're younger, like there's going to be creative ways you can do. It doesn't just have to be alcohol, but creative ways to be, I guess, frugal with the best.
Mhm. Mhm.
Maybe people might view you as cheap.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. And it's easier to see it from this end looking back vice when you're on the young end of that spectrum that you just outlined, looking forward, like, oh, I'm only spending this now, but in 5, 7 years, when I go out, I'll be able to spend this, and it'll pretty much be the equivalent. One, that's unknown, it's not certain, and two, again, especially younger, uh, just because of the societal expectation, or I don't even know, just the stereotype from being 20. It's like you're supposed to go out, you're supposed to have fun, you're supposed to turn up, and that's not true. Which I also heard recently that apparently this Gen Z is like the least compared to millennials and boomers drink alcohol less. So like boomers drink a lot of alcohol, millennials drink less than boomers, and Gen Z, yeah. So like alcohol consumption across like the US is trending down, which I guess is good. But I want to take it back to when you were talking about, how you just came out of college and when we met in Japan, kind of our first job, early 20s. And we would go out and stuff, but you still saved heavily and invested. Where do you think you got that mindset from? I want to know, just talk to me about like what influenced your mindset, or did you just not care? You just say, I'll dump my money here and see what happens. Like, was there any inspiration from somewhere? Did you hear something? Because we like to go out, but you also saved and invested like a lot, a
Yeah.
decent amount, especially compared to somebody that age. So
I want
what's
when he first said it, my instinct was like, "Oh, it's probably like, the way I am from my Japanese culture." Right?
mm,
Because like, I mean, a lot of the East Asian culture emphasize on saving money,
yeah,
right? Even more, maybe they do too in the United States, but like even more
they
so.
do. I would say,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, it's emphasized like you got to save money, like
Okay.
really, But I say that to say that I don't think that that was me because I'm thinking when I first started getting my paychecks,
Hmm.
I would literally spend if let's say I got $3,000 of check, let's just say,
Yeah.
I would spend I'll find a way to spend $3,000 somehow. Like
Wait,
I just
when was this?
this is before I met you.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Like between when I commissioned or when I graduated from school to me showing up on my first shift.
Okay. Okay.
So maybe like
I
a
was,
5 month period.
you would like go out of your way to spend it. Like you were like, I'm spending this.
No, like, I would just find random stuff that end up in my
Just end
stuff
that.
that I would just, like, end up
Yeah.
yeah, and then literally, I'd be like, "Alright, I got a week to go. I still have $1,000 in my account, so I can go buy this or that." I bought a new laptop.
Yeah.
I just remember I bought, like, Beats speakers. I just bought it because, like, I had the money.
So you had, yeah.
And in October of that year, that was 2018, I think everything changed, I mean, it's boring because I said it so many times, but
Where's that
when
poor dad?
I remember Step Poor Dad, and then that kinda got me thinking to, like, a bigger goal, like, "Hey,
Mhm.
there's more than" like, there's, like, a goal to aim for. Because like, when I was 22, I really didn't have any sort of ambition to go somewhere in life.
And that's probably not uncommon, dude. We're trying to everybody's trying to figure it out. Yeah.
I'm just like, literally, my only thing was trying to get girls and do well at my job.
Yeah.
That was it. But,
Yeah.
like, those are both not shallow, but, like, it's meaningless goals. To do well at your job, like, what does that even mean, right?
I mean, yeah, yeah.
But there wasn't anything tangible, like, or a
Mhm.
state to aim for, and then from reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was able to get that, and then just literally, I was just like, I'm not gonna sacrifice my life, I'm not gonna stop
Mhm.
living my life,
Yeah.
but then I'm still gonna either, I spend it for the money that I wanna spend it or I spend money on the stuff that I wanna spend it on, or it just goes to investments. That's it. And it was easier investing because the military, like,
Yeah, yeah.
I knew I was getting a paycheck.
Yep.
I
Yep.
knew I was not getting fired,
Yep.
and I had no other overhead besides my student loans and my rent. That was
Right.
it.
Right.
So it was easier to plan for sure, but yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah,
where
yeah, dude. I just wanted to, and that's good. I think some things you talked about are experienced by a lot of young 20 to 25-year-olds. So I think that's right on par. But just hearing you speak on how you navigated your life at that time, I wanted to dive into your mindset. Because I think you formed a more focused we were definitely focused on investments more. I mean, I've always since a young age been taught to like kind of save, but it was kind of aimless saving. I wasn't saving for anything particular. I was just dumping money
Yeah.
away. But now, we're all about making that money grow or make your money make money. So that has kind of shifted over the years, which again is makes sense as you get older and you learn kind of how money works and like the financial system a bit. And now I feel like one of the big things, so it's not just about spending on stuff or even experiences. And this just came up yesterday. We were talking to somebody about like subscriptions and stuff, but it could be anything. There's just so many little
Yeah.
things that can exist in the background that are like slowly, and any subscription, most of them were like $15 or less. It's not going to be anything significant, but if you have enough of them for over a long period of time, like, and do the math on that, those can add up. So, and that's what I'm talking about. Just accounting for your dollar and taking. So you say you get those ads on the quick loans, dude, they're preying on you because I don't really get those. I'm not gonna lie to you. I get like the
Oh,
loans
interesting.
particularly. I don't get any of those. But the was it Rocket Money or
Yeah, dude.
I
I get
get
that too.
that so multiple times a day. And it's like, I bet, do you know how many subscriptions you have? Oh, get Rocket Money. It'll help you shave off whatever. And Rocket, I don't have Rocket Money or any similar tool like it or application. But something like that, the concept is, you download it and it'll, I guess you upload your bank accounts and it will synthesize everything, go through it and tell you like all your subscriptions, where you can then easily see maybe where you're wasting money. Whether you do that or just kind of sift through your own bank accounts and cut out some of the extra stuff, that could be a small way to start where you can save money but continue to live your life. Like, I mean, am I
Yeah,
decent? You know what I mean? Like
it
I
is.
like watching TV, but I don't need Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Peacock, MGM Plus, Disney Plus. Like,
Yeah, that's
I can,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead, you about to say something.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many things. But I do want to bring up this article, and then you were also talking about how the millennial, or you said Gen Z
Yeah.
generation, they are consuming less alcohol,
Yes.
which kind of different topic, but I was like, you know what? Man, never mind, never mind. I was gonna make a joke, but when I said it in my head, I was so dumb. Anyway, all right. So I have this chart from the Washington Post,
Okay.
and the title of the chart is called Intergenerational Wealth. And
Okay.
basically, what the chart depicts is the percentage of the national wealth owned by each generation. And
Ooh, that's
there's a bar of what they how, what the generation owned, uh, per the median age of that generation group
ooh,
over the years,
percentage
right?
of the national wealth owned
Yeah.
by generation. Ooh,
So
sounds good.
the baby boomers in 1990, for example, I'm bringing this is one example. Baby boomers in 1990 was the average age of baby boomers were a 35, and they owned a little bit over 20% of, I guess, the United States wealth.
Well, okay.
And fast forward to today, the baby boomers own about a little bit shy of 60%.
Mm.
So that's a big chunk, right?
Ooh.
And you can see a very steep
Yeah.
it's pretty linear and it's steep until they hit like the maybe 60-ish, and it kind of tapers off. And that makes sense, right? People quit working around that age. And you look at Generation X, which was after baby boomers, and you look at millennials. And it's interesting because millennials at 2019, the average age was a 30 or 31. And at that
Bro.
point, we have less than 5% of
Ooh.
national wealth
You gotta step it
compared
up.
to the but compared to the baby boomers at the same age, they had a little bit over 20.
Dang.
And looking at Generation X, they when they were 30, they had about I would say 6 to 7%.
Around
So
a
already
little more than this.
yeah, like you kind of see like you kind of see start to see a trend like where it's like high, lower, and lower.
Yep.
I'm and I have read multiple reports where Gen Z is the poorest generation of everything. So Gen Z is even lower than that.
Mm,
Are they at the 30 age that we're looking at these
yeah,
data
like
from? Like, no, they're not. But it it kind of shows like the current state of where people are, right? Where the generations
yeah,
are,
super interesting.
and it's interesting because like there's so we millennials from this graph is definitely the poorest age or generation of the past few generations. Gen Zs are even less, or they're even more poorer than us. And I just think it's interesting because a lot of these narratives kind of tie into like what the graph is showing. I just have a feeling
Mm,
during when the baby boomers, like, I don't think the word around town was like, hey, go live your life, go out and go. I think it was more, hard work was emphasized, like saving was
mm,
emphasized more, and stuff like that. And the key trends that I have a website pulled up that talks about key Gen Z spending and buying statistics, and these are the top things that they picked from. And one of the things that I was very concerned with, it says 55.1% of Gen Z will use shop now, or they will shop with buy now, pay later. So
mhm.
you've seen the apps like Affirm is a good example.
Yeah.
When you go check out on Amazon, it's like, hey, instead of paying $20 today, just break it up into $5 over the next 4 months.
Yeah.
And people are financing like water bottles. It's good. I was like, dude, this like what are we doing? That's crazy. And I mean, with that example, right? $20 or $5 over 4 months,
Mhm.
it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's like the mindset piece that you brought up, like, you can tell from right from wrong, and I feel like there's something inside your soul, inside your gut that's telling you, "Hey, you probably shouldn't finance a water bottle." Like a $20
Yeah,
purchase,
but
like,
why? I mean, but they don't. It's that why behind. Like, yeah, you shouldn't because it's cheaper, relatively
no, because
speaking.
you're creating a habit of buying
Yeah.
something without the money that you have,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Because
Oh.
$20, I mean, $20 and $5 are very it's hard to depict
Smaller amounts.
the consequences, I guess.
Right.
It's such
Right.
a small number.
Right.
But to imagine, $1,000 thing.
Yeah.
Would you rather pay $1,000 now or $50 for the next 4
Yes.
months,
Right.
right? And that's dangerous because with the subscription thing, would $50 kill you? I mean, it might some, but like majority of people, I don't think $50 is gonna kill them,
Hmm.
right? They do a couple rides on Uber and they're gonna go make that money back, right?
Yeah.
But then, similar to the subscription thing, you get used to paying these monthly
Yeah.
recurring payments, and then the next time you wanna go buy something, you add on that
It just.
finance charges again. So, what the one item of $50 a month turns into $300 over the next 36 months. And it's not a one big hit, it's your bank account, that's the issue. Like, it should be a big hit to let you know, like, "Hey, don't do this." But it's like a paper cut,
Yeah.
death by a thousand paper cuts type thing, like, where it's
Mm.
just draining you slowly and slowly and slowly until you can't get out of it. And I browse around, like, weird Reddit pages, but, there's Reddit pages on, like, debt free, and I hear people, they're like, "Yeah, I have, like, $30,000 in credit card debt," and they have like a plan to attack it, which is good.
Yeah.
But how does it get to that point? You know?
Right. Right.
Eh,
Yeah. And somebody could have had like. Which we had another episode, where we talked about this. I can't remember the episode at the moment, but right, some life happening could have happened, but that's usually not the case. It's usually and being listening to you talk just now, the one word that was like blaring in my head was consumerism, and I think that might be why we see this trend on that graph you said. Not only do the younger generations I don't know if they spend more or not. What I do know is spending is way more accessible. The baby boomers and boomers, they didn't have Amazon where they can if I literally any water bottle, right? I could go online right now, have a water bottle, and have it at my doorstep tomorrow. Like they could not have that. So the ease of spending and accessibility and the digitalization of spending, all these things combined, I feel like again, I have no numbers to back this, but I feel like consumerism is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Who do you
Okay,
think is
okay.
the main proponents of these consumers? I mean, not the young teens or whatever, like they don't have their own money, but probably these people that are just getting money, experiencing money the first time. Yeah, you want to go out and buy stuff. And then you have the influences by social media, like you said, people flexing who knows what on social media. So you're trying to keep up with them. So it's the perfect storm of being young, being financially illiterate, having access to all the spending, and you have this declining graph among generations. And I could be way off, but hey, at least they're drinking less. I don't know.
Yeah. That's
The trends are
crazy.
interesting.
No,
That's a sick graph.
no,
That's
it's
interesting.
you're definitely right on point, and I think there's definitely a lot of data to back it up. But what I'm reading in front of my face is, what you said. It says 74% of Gen Z prefer shopping on phones over other devices. The ease of accessibility, right? You
Yeah. Right
literally
there.
phones in your hand the entire time.
Yep.
And this is a or they say 41% of Gen Z prefer to discover new things on social media via short form video.
It,
It just
it's
yeah,
not,
I get
not
spread like
surprisingly.
yeah, even though I'm a millennial, I just didn't grow up with the
Right.
spray on my shorts. Like I didn't even start scrolling on Reels or TikTok until I was like in my early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you've fallen into the or I mean, I don't know. I've fallen into it multiple times. The Instagram like little app pops up
The-
and like it's like a pretty cool product. Like I bought what did I buy? I bought like mushroom matcha. Like
yeah.
if you drink this, like you're gonna be like a Superman type of stuff. And I was looking into it. I was like, yeah, this seems pretty cool. But
Uh-huh.
then I saw another ad from that company that claimed something, and then like, I was going through it, and it was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, this is absolutely not true," because I drink that matcha tea, like, every single day for
Yeah.
at least, like, 3 months,
Oh wow.
and I stopped the cancel I stopped the subscription since then,
Hmm.
but from then, I was like, "Dude, I just got scammed by this marketing scheme because of the one wrong thing that they said, now I have I don't see any credibility on any other thing that
All
they
of the
said."
products. Yeah.
And I'm just falling for these stupid stuff online. And I feel like I'm pretty good with my spending. Like it's gonna be really hard for me to spend money on like these
Hmm.
random stuff. So if I'm falling for it, I feel like there's a lot of
Of
people just
course.
buying.
Of course.
And I, more on the trend of the ease of accessibility thing. I just kind of think about it. So we just went to McDonald's like before we did the
Hmm.
podcast, and I order. And, before, like, before, obviously, you have to go there and pay cash, right?
Yeah.
Now, after the new trend of, like, pulling out your wallet and then tapping or inserting your
Yeah.
credit card, sliding your credit card came through, right? And even online, like, it's kind of a pain because you have to insert your 16-digit credit card number, like, "Oh, what's the security code?" It's kinda
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, when I order McDonald's, I hit order, Apple Pay comes up, I hit pay, I does my Face ID, and it's like,
That's
"Ding,"
it.
and it pays.
That's it.
It took less than cash, it took less than credit
Mhm.
cards, it's so fast to spend money.
Yes. Making it very easy for people to what? Live their best life.
Yeah,
They're
that's
trying
yeah.
to trying to get us as part of the scheme. But no, seriously, we're baited into a lot of this stuff. Like I feel like it's fighting I won't say human urge, more so like societal urges when everything around you is evolving and there's so many trends and the money is shifting to the a digital age. Yeah, nobody's gonna argue it's not easy to fight off certain urges or build certain habits. but that doesn't mean that it's not necessary, or not even that, or that it's not the best for you in the long run. Um, people, we live in the now, right? And people forget. I don't want to say people forget, but I feel like we're just neglecting the future. So what about we talked about saving and budgeting. What about savings for retirements? Um, or like I would be interested in these people that are, living with the YOLO. Are they even cognizant about retirement accounts? And I get it. When you're young, you almost don't even need, like, no 21-year-old is thinking about a retirement account. I get it. But it's like the earlier you learn these things, the better. Like I wish I would have had more investment conversations in college when I got that loan. Cause I definitely do think I would have invested more. I just needed somebody to guide me, somebody that I trusted in. And then you take it one step further from the retirement accounts, talking about next generations and stuff. What about starting to save to build for your future family if if you so desire, or your lineage even, which we've talked about in multiple episodes, like building money that'll last, span generations. It's going to be hard, not it's going to be harder when you're maximizing that live your best life mindset mentality. Um at least as frivolously, like financially. Again, you can absolutely live your best life, but you can find substitutes for things. You can, or sometimes you do just have to say no. Like you can't
Mhm.
do everything. And that's like when I say that, I'm speaking to myself as well. Like you truly can't do everything. And nowadays, I love finding like things to do that don't cost a lot. Go to the beach, or I don't know, so many things you can do that are low cost or no cost. We can get creative, but I think put it in a perspective of the future may help some people with current spending. But again, they just have to have the conversations.
Mhm.
I think it's a big piece of it.
Yeah. Eh, oh, and if I had to pick a position, right? Like I can say extreme things like on polar side of one, whatever particular
Mhm.
topic. But with 99% of the things that we talk about, there's not a clear cut answer to whether it's option A or option B or option whatever, right? And I think this definitely applies as well. We're not, uh, I don't think the best route for anyone is to save everything and
Yeah.
be those like what's the TV show they cut up like coupons to save on single
Yes.
thing, right?
Okay, yeah.
That's like an extreme end.
Oh, what is it?
On the other end, they say, hey, obviously, like live your best life, blah blah blah, spend whatever. That's the portion that we're reveling on, but there has to be a middle point, and I think it'll be impossible for you to exactly know what the middle point is, but where you spend like you're living your life, and you're still very frugal in
Mhm.
nature, and if you play around with it to find that magic number, uh, not through calculation, but like through living life, I feel like there'll be a lifestyle that you can live where people don't even think that you're cheap, right?
Mhm.
Because you're just like you're not going for the budget options, but you're just not buying a lot of stuff.
Right.
So when you do buy stuff, you
You
can
can
right.
yeah.
So that's that. And then I have a quote pulled up by Warren Buffett, and I think this is so powerful, right? And this is part of the truly living your best life, I guess.
Mhm.
But it says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And the original intent behind this quote is you got to get some other way for to make money than your hard labor.
Right.
Right? That's the original intent of behind this quote. And I think this quote is relevant into what we do today because basically if you rephrase it is if you're not smart with your money now, you're going to work until you die.
Yeah.
And that's becoming more and more of a reality and yeah, dude like I I'm scared for the American future. And I'm
Mhm.
29, dude. Like I got 40 more years to live, you know? Like
You got more than that, brother.
hopefully, but
No,
yeah,
I hear you.
it
Yeah, no, that it's true, and I think when we look at these trends, those are very interesting to me, just because the separation in generations. I think millennials, honestly, is I may be biased, but I think our generation is so dope because we caught like the pre-technological era where still used hard cash and video games were
house
like
phones.
3 pixels per screen,
Yeah.
big, super glitchy, and then the development of all this. So, although we know how to use all the new stuff, the quick tap to pay and all that, we still have some of the ideals of the upbringing of the heavy saving, the hard work. You said at the beginning of this episode that hard work, you said something surrounding hard work, and that's so powerful to me that hard work, I feel like, has decreased in value. It's like, I feel like growing up, I heard, and maybe it was just because I was literally immersed in sports. So it was like always, you got to work hard, you got to put in extra work, go out in the driveway and dribble some more, like go practice run some miles on the field, like hard work, hard work. But I feel like hard work was more of a priority to those older generations. And maybe because they worked harder, or maybe more often, the dollar meant more, so they didn't want to let it go as much, or there's more
Oh, maybe,
that was
yeah.
correlated to an emphasis on saving. I don't know. I'm spitballing here, but again, it's just like a melting pot of things that kind of snowballed over the generations that leave us here now with high consumerism, an obsession with living our best lives, disregarding finances, and like you said, the scare for the American future. It's kind of scary in the modern sense. To live your best life, like maybe you should live your decent life. Like don't like calm down a little bit. But yeah, obviously we want the most for everybody, and I say that facetiously. And everyone deserves to have fun. But like I feel like as a collective, we got to be more conscious. I don't know.
Yeah, no, conscious
You know?
definitely a good word too. Man, that was so good. 'Cause, people I feel like my younger brother, I don't I'm just
Yeah.
I can joke on him without getting in trouble, but it's like, I feel like if they're pushing him too hard, it's like, "Oh, we're hurting his feelings and just you don't wanna blah, blah, blah." And that's just so hard because, a lot of older people just kinda laugh that off and like, "Oh, you're caring about your feelings," but then, like, I realize that it's also
Like,
important,
mm-hmm.
right? But then I feel like that where those stuff that the young newer generation cares about, the line is drawn too shallow. Like, obviously,
What do
like,
you mean?
everyone of course, like, majority of the people care about your feelings, like, they
Yeah.
do. But then the point that where you bring up, like, where the feelings aren't tolerable anymore is too soon. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
no, I'm not following you. What do you mean?
Like, where let's say you are of equal weight or
Uh-huh.
equal, body strength,
Okay.
right? And then so we're benching, let's just say, and then I start out with benching a pound, and then we go all the way up to 200. Like at some point, it's going to be really, really tough,
Yes.
right? And I feel like the older generation, or at least like millennials, like we still care to the point, like, hey, like don't go too hard because you might break your arms, like for example, right?
Okay.
Right. But then, so we might tap out at like 180 pounds, let's just say, and say, "Hey, enough is enough. We care about this,
Yeah.
just other bigger important stuff than lifting weights."
Yeah.
But then where the younger generation, they might tap out at like 40 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very loose
I
example, but
got you.
like
No, that
that
helped
it
me
can
follow.
apply. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. I feel like the older generation would've been like, "F that, I can get 205," and, like,
Yeah, it's like
do
that.
too much
We
and then end
know,
up hurt. It's like that balance. Yeah.
like we realize, like that's neither way is the right answer. No, try to.
Mhm.
I'll do like, oh, like, hey,
Yep.
don't ever show your emotion. Like, I think that's what traditional men have been at least brought up as, like, hey, don't show emotion. Like, don't show your sign of weakness.
Mhm.
And then where the new generation is like, it's okay to talk about feelings, blah blah blah. And I think that's a better direction to go towards. But
I would say so.
I think people have been playing too much victim,
Mm.
where it was intended to be a good thing to focus on. Like what bad does it come out of it to focus on your mental health?
Right. Yeah.
Nothing.
And
There's
that's
no bad thing that comes out from focusing on your mental health. But
mm,
if you try to focus on it too much, where you're kind of like a wimp, I guess, and you know, it kind of it goes down in a negative sense at a certain point if you
yeah.
try to tap out too early.
That's just like too much of any one thing is bad. I don't care what it
Yeah,
is. Like it could be
yeah,
gold, like it literally like anything. So yeah, and the common thread and what I heard you saying is balance. Like it with
yeah. I
all
mean,
this
like I said, I
with
don't think the baby boomers, like, I don't think they did everything right. I know for a fact they didn't do everything right. And Gen Z, I know that they're not doing everything right either.
and bro, you saying we're
So,
the perfect generation or what?
no, no, I'm not saying. I think there's between there, we can
No,
lean different ways, but
mm,
no, there's no like perfect generation. There's only
facts.
better like habits to practice, right? Going back to the
Oh,
workout
yeah.
example, which it sounds bad after saying it, but like we know it's better to work out than not to work out, right? No workout versus too much workout. We know those are both bad, but we know
Yep.
somewhere along the way it's good to work out.
Yep.
So same thing. Like I don't think Gen Z. Like I feel like we s- spend a lot of time like bad mouthing millennials and Gen Z, but it's. I think there's. I truly do think there's a lot of finance like issues on the personal finance side with the millennials and
Mhm.
the Gen Z. But that's not to say the other generation really. I mean, they also had a lot of bad stuff and the things that
Just other stuff. Yeah, I was about to
yeah,
say.
we need to reform on for sure.
Right.
But okay, I do want to ask you though, because we gave a lot of talk and theoretical and data. What do you
Mm.
like? What do you think? 2025. Like, think about your your own. Let's say you're only bringing in half of what you bring in today,
Mm.
right? Is to simulate what you were earning prior, right?
Okay.
What's ideas that you got in your head to try to save money while you're trying to live your life?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm cutting all subscriptions. I don't think there's one subscription I have that I
Oh,
need
really?
to sustain my life. Half of what I'm making now? Yeah. Dude, I don't even most I used to have a food subscription, like a HelloFresh, but I've got that most of mine are I have a audiobook subscription, 2 TV subscriptions. I don't have many, I don't think compared to average, maybe like, oh, yeah, like Amazon Prime, like I guess I got probably like 4 or 5 subscriptions. I'm cutting all of those.
Okay,
Um,
that's bold. Not even Netflix.
see,
Not
I
even
don't need it. I don't need it. No,
Amazon
I'll
Prime.
read or I'll no, I don't. Oh, I don't need that. I'm cutting all of that, and then half what I'm making. I'm picking up a side hustle. I'm Ubering. I'm doing something on the weekends. And then just my general like eat out. I'm cooking way more. I'm buying
Oh, yeah, that is
groceries.
true.
That's a big one for me. I'll be honest. Is like fast food, and not that sometimes I get like salads a lot, but like just eating out. So I'm cooking way more. I'm getting rid of all subscriptions, and I'm picking up some on the side. Those are probably like my top three.
Yeah.
And just with just like cutting back on going out, as I mean, I don't like go to the club or anything, but like museum, whatever. I like stuff like that.
Even even on the going out thing, I don't know what I don't have friends that are, age 18 to 22 or the younger
Right,
side of the 20s. But even like I just think of them as people that they like to go out and stuff like that
right.
because I was also once 18 and 22 and
Exactly.
25, whatever, right? But then yeah, like there's so many ways you can just go out without spending that much money.
Yeah. And that's
Like,
why that's not even one of the first things that came to my head that I cut. Literally, for me, it'd be like the subscriptions.
oh yeah,
It ain't
sure, yeah.
that'd be like one of the because I could sustain going out. Like you need to do something. You can't be in the house all the time. Like you got to do something.
Yeah, yeah.
So that wouldn't even be like the first or second thing for me, honestly. Yeah.
I feel you, I feel you.
What about for you? What are
I
some
mean,
changes you make?
to live my I think the term like live your best life, I'm just thinking of a lot of outdoor activities. Like nothing
Mm,
inside the house. Or I don't want to say nothing, but majority of the stuff is outside rather than inside when I
mhm.
think of that phrase. So I think the easiest way for me without changing any lifestyle would be pretty much just to get a roommate. 'Cause, like, I
Interesting.
mean, yeah, I know people from work that would offer their room. I know buddies from high school that would offer me a room,
Mm,
and that's gonna be so much. I would
that's a
if I
good
was
one.
single if I was single, right?
I was about to say.
If I was single, like, I'm married now, but
Yeah,
if I was
yeah,
single, like, I'm not kidding, I would have lived at
yeah,
my buddy's house. That would have been
yeah.
so much more fun.
And a
It'd
huge
be it's
savings.
super cheap. Yeah, it'd be much, much, much cheaper. Yeah, that would have been good. Like, but
No, that's a great one.
the fact that if you just do that, for example, right, you could be saving literally like $1,000 a month or
Yep.
more,
Yes.
and with that $1,000, you could not have a lifestyle change a bit, and you can go out, spend $200 every single weekend, and you're still gonna come out on
That's what,
top at the
yeah.
end of the month.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
so
the
stuff
home life will change a lot, but like you're saying, your other
is that gonna
quality of life.
change a lot, though?
I mean, yeah,
You
sharing your
still
space
have
with
your
your
room.
buddy and kid. Yeah, dude. A lot. I would argue that changes your life a lot. A lot of people
I
don't like sharing their space. I think you're more comfortable with it, so for you, it's not perceived as like a big
but
change.
what do you what big I agree it's a change, but I don't think it's a big change.
I mean, not to your social or like financial life, no, but just maybe your quality of life. Like, I don't know, you can't
Huh.
be in the house like how what if you have to share a kitchen, share a bathroom? Those sound the little things, right? Especially in the case if you're trying to save money, like fuck, I'll do all that.
You know,
But
that's my point. They are little things. It's not
yeah,
big.
but some people are like they like their space is their peace. So they'd rather do a whole bunch of other things than like let somebody disrupt their peace. Yeah. So whereas you, especially like let's just say an introvert, like they might foster like anxiety being around somebody all the time when they're home.
Mhm.
Um, and I actually think that's more because we usually pretty much just speak in like generalities and stuff like for most people, but I actually think there's a lot of people that would rather cut like I don't know, somewhat like a subscriptions than just move in with somebody. But I agree with you. Like the easiest one change that affects the least in your life, and you can still kind of live how you were living, or get a roommate, or two even. Like oh man, you
Yeah.
saving through the roof. And if they're like not random roommates, they're like actually your homies,
Yeah, no,
right?
exactly. That
Like
could even enhance
that's
your life.
yeah, yeah, that's
I like I said,
great move.
even the big change, like, oh, it's gonna decrease in quality, whatever. I think if I lived with my buddies, my everything would just go up. It would just be so much more fun. I feel like. I don't know. Maybe I just had good roommates throughout my
But yeah, for sure.
yeah.
No, I think it'd also be a blast with some of my friends too. Um, for sure, definitely. Man, you got any more questions? I feel like you got some good questions this episode, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel hopefully it didn't sound like yeah, I'm scared of like people thinking, oh, we're the old people trying to lecture down. That's not the intent. Like we see a
Not at
problem and we're trying
all.
to address it, not towards anyone, but towards like a stats is what we're seeing and trying to,
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
if one person changes their habit, I'm very happy from this episode.
Right, right. And I mean, for context, like this whole platform stems from me and B, like just having phone conversations, kind of just talking about our lives or just things that we would think about, things we saw in society, things that we observe. So it's really just like taking our thoughts, kind of just having an open conversation, formalizing them a little bit, backing them with some stats and things that we find interesting that can hopefully help move the listening population, whoever's tuning in a better direction. We don't know everything. And then just kind of going against some things we've traditionally learned or you would typically hear, such as like live your best life. It's like, yeah, with a caveat. So I mean, as always, like we foster the discussion, get it going in the comments. Like we love that stuff. And we're definitely not know-it-alls. This isn't us trying to play dad to anybody.
We're learning too.
Yeah, yeah. And I do the reason I like another just an added layer of these episodes for me, like these discussions, like I'll take these and reflect on these, or sometimes these are like personal reminders to like take something on in my life or something that we've been talking about or that I do. And I just needed that nudge or
Mm,
reminder. So I mean, these are personally beneficial for me as well, which it's just a win-win-win. Yeah. Sweet. Well, that's it on living your best life. Hopefully you can live it smart. That's all we got. Do you got anything?
No, we're good.
Sweet. Till next time.